YouTube, what's happening? It is Sunday morning, May 26th. There are 15 baseball games to talk about today. But first, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't, because I know you're going to like this recap. Because yesterday, I went 8-4 plus 4.56 units. 3 outright money line dog winners in Kansas City, Washington, and San Francisco. Amazing right there. Hit some overs. It was a great day overall. That makes it 11 out of the last 12 days I have ended the day in the green. This is a generational run we're on right now. It's amazing. I don't know how the statistics model is doing so good, but let's be honest, there's going to be some down days coming. They just haven't shown up yet. And as long as we keep profiting, we'll keep taking it. So we got 15 games, almost all of them day games Sunday. So we need to jump into these. Let's go. First game. All right, first up, we got the Blue Jays and the Tigers. We got Kikuchi with his 264 going up against Mize with his 457. Betting markets have the Blue Jays as a 135 favorite. Over under 7.5 with a little bit of juice on the over. The Blue Jays have lost 2 in a row. Detroit has won 2 in a row in this one. Looking at the numbers, we have Toronto hits the Nerfy 85% of the time as the away team, Detroit 80% as the home team. That gives you a 68.8% chance. I'm going to lean. I took the Nerfy yesterday. It didn't work out. I think I'm going to do it again. I have trust in Kikuchi. Mize does worry me a little bit. So, but maybe a Sunday. It's too early. It's too early for me. I haven't finished my coffee yet. So maybe it's too early for them. So we're going to take the Nerfy, have a little breakfast sweat, if you will. So we'll take the Nerfy in this game for sure. Runs a game, Toronto 5, which puts them at 8th best. They're batting 259, which is 8th best. Detroit is 3.14 pi runs, which is 25th best, and they're batting 215, which is 24th best. So we have massive advantages for Toronto in this one. Strikeouts 7.4 to 7.7, not much difference. 3.4, 3.0 on the walks, not much difference. Kikuchi has it's a better matchup for him. It's pitcher matchup, better matchup here. I'm going to be taking Toronto on the money line this one. I know they lost 2 in a row, but the stats are still there, so we're taking Toronto. Money line over under, I'm going to leave alone because I don't know how we have hot offense, cold offense. I don't trust that. It's going to be a pass. So we're going to do Nerfy and Toronto money line. Next game. All right, next up, we got the Dodgers and the Reds. We got Yamamoto with his 317 going up against Suter with his 413. Betting market's going to the Dodgers at 220 money line favorite. Over under 8.5 with some juice on the over. Looking at stats of this one, we have the Dodgers at 64% Nerfy when they're on the road. Cincy 74% Nerfy when they're at home. That gives you 47%. I am passing all day on that one. Dodgers 3.1 runs a game, which is 24. Cincy 3.8 runs, which is 20th. They both bottom 10. That is not good. They cannot score that much. They're averaging a combined 7 runs a game. Over under is 8.5. Good to know. Batting average wise, Dodgers are batting 218, Cincy 205. That is 22 and 26. They're both in the bottom 8. Not good for the majors over the past week. Dodgers are 9th in strikeouts at 7.3. Cincy is 26 and 9.8. So we advantage Dodgers again. And then we have Dodgers at 2.3 on walks, which is 26. And Cincy number 1 in the majors at 4.33. So they're walking, but they're striking out a good bit too. So this game is weird. I don't see how these are 220 favorites. I don't see it. The stats are equal almost on both sides. Nothing stands out. Yamamoto's 5-1 with 317. Great. But Suter's got a 413, which isn't that much worse. But maybe they're going basically strictly on talent, or maybe the public's going to be all over the Dodgers because it's the Dodgers. Yeah, sure. Why not? I'm not touching 220. Something feels funny. The Reds, they're at home. This is a pass. I don't like the money line. I don't like the over under. And I don't like the Nerfy. So we're going to pass completely on this one and move on to the next game. All right, next up, we got the Braves and the Pirates. We have Sale with a 222 going up against Perez with a 480. Betting markets have the Braves as a minus 225 favorite on the road. Over under 7.5 with some juice on the over. Looking at the stats, the Braves have lost 2 in a row. Pirates have won 2 in a row. The numbers tell us that Atlanta hits the NERFy 84% of the time when they're the road team, and Pittsburgh hits the NERFy 73% of the time as the home team. That gives you 61.3. That's not good enough for me. That's a pass on the NERFy. Looking at runs, Atlanta 3.75, which is 21st best. Pittsburgh 6 runs a game, which is 4th best in the past week. Pittsburgh also is 268 batting average, which is good for 5th. Meanwhile, Atlanta is 229, which is 21st. So we have 2 massive advantages here for Pittsburgh. Look, makes me wonder on the money line here. Looking at the Ks and walks, Atlanta 8.2, which is 21st. Pittsburgh 10, which is 27th. A little bit lean Atlanta, but not much of an advantage there. Atlanta 2.2 on the walks. Pittsburgh 3.6 on the walks. Again, some decent advantage for Pittsburgh. Nothing stands out here. This is another weird game. I would lean Pittsburgh at home based on, yeah, we have Perez with a 1.3 with a 4.80 ERA, but Atlanta's struggling with the bats. Pittsburgh's bats they're both 4th in runs and 5th in average for a reason, and they've already played twice against Atlanta, and they showed they can tee off on Atlanta. So, yeah, Sale's 7-1. Yeah, it's great and all, but I would lean Pittsburgh at home. I'm not going to take it though. I'm not going to do it. Sale's good. He's good. So I'm not going to. Oh my God. Am I going to do it? I think I am. Yeah. All right. Fine. We're going to do it. We're going to take Pittsburgh money line. We're going to take the home team. We're going to go. We're going to trust the stats. We're going to trust the data. We're going to go with that. We're going to ignore the total of 7.5 because the Braves are struggling offensively, but we know they have pop on it. But right now, you can't trust that pop. So we're going to pass on that. We're going to pass on Irvy. Pittsburgh money line, dog at home next game. All right, next up, we got the Brewers and the Red Sox. We got Myers with a 5 ERA going against Hoke, whatever, with 1.94 ERA. Betting markets currently have the Red Sox as a 150 money line favorite, over under 9.5 with some juice on the under. Stats wise, Milwaukee is getting the NERFy 70% of the time when they're on the road. Boston 60% of the time when they're at home. That gives you a 42% chance. That's a pass all day. Milwaukee 4.4 runs, Boston 4.6 runs, both in the middle of the pack. Milwaukee is batting 236, which is 18th. Boston 213, which is 24th. All these numbers in the past week. Milwaukee 7.8 strikeouts, Boston 9 strikeouts. Again, they're right next to each other. Milwaukee is doing better in the walks. They're at 4.2, which is 2nd. Meanwhile, Boston's 2.6 is 22nd. Stats, numbers, analysis, looking at all of this. Red Sox are favored because Hawk's pitching. That's why. He has a way better ERA, better whip, better, everything's better there. Myers, 5 ERA after 18 innings, not good. The numbers are almost the same. We lean Boston in terms of runs, but we lean Milwaukee in terms of batting average. Nothing stands out in this one. I'm not forcing games I don't need to force. The only advantage we have is a better stats on a pitcher, but all the batting stats are not good. We don't mess with those. So we're going to pass on this game completely and move on to the next one. All right, next up, we got Seattle and Washington. Beautiful call yesterday on the Washington money line, home dog outright winner. It's not going to be today. Seattle sending out Wu with a 0.57 with 15 innings against Corbin and a 6.29 ERA. Will not be taking Washington today on the money line. Looking at the betting markets, we have the Mariners as a 170 money line favorite, over under 8.5 with some juice on the over. Stats wise, we have Seattle has lost 4 in a row. That's interesting. But they are hitting the NERFy 78.5% of the time as the road team. And Washington is the NERFy 86.3% of the time as the home team. That gives you a 67.85. I would lean it, but Patrick Corbin's pitching. And Corbin is like Manoah. You don't know what you're going to get. You're either going to get 7 shutout perfect game innings, or you're going to get 7 earned runs in 7 pitches. Who knows with him? So we're going to not mess with that at all. This one, stat numbers wise, we have Seattle is 2.6 runs a game, which is 28th best. Washington is 4.6 runs a game, which is 12th. So we have advantage Washington. Seattle is batting 187, which is 29th best. Washington is batting 242, which is 14th. So advantage Washington. Seattle is striking out 10.5 times a game, which is 29th. And Washington is 7 strikeout, which is 7th. And Seattle is walking 2.5 for 24th, and Washington 1.4 for 29th. Looking at this, the numbers lean Washington, but they have Corbin pitching, and I don't trust Corbin. I won't do it. I trusted Manoah a couple days ago. I said, oh, he's doing better. Let me trust him. What happens? He gives us 5 earned runs in 1 inning. Not, you're not going to get me. Corbin and Manoa are like brothers. They do the same thing. Can't do it. So we're going to pass on the side in this one. I don't trust it. The numbers say Washington. Corbin's pitching. No. Over under 8.5. I don't trust it either because we don't know what's going to happen. This game, I'm not touching nervy. We're going to leave this game alone completely. There's other things to pick from. So next game. All right, next up, we got Kansas City and Tampa Bay. We got Waka with his 4.45 going up against Bradley with his 4.0. Betting markets currently have the Rays as a -120 favorite. Over under 7.5 with some juice on the over. Stats wise, we have Kansas City has won 8 games in a row. They are streaking. Oddly enough, Tampa Bay has lost 6 in a row. They are also streaking. In baseball, we take streaks until streak is broken. Stats tell us that Kansas City is hitting the Nerfy 75% of the time as the road team. Tampa 70% as the home team. That's 53%. We pass on that. Kansas City is number 1 in the majors this week at 8.2 runs a game, and they are also number 1 in batting average at 3.26. I mean, .326. They are both number 1. The bats are on fire. They're hot. They're melting baseballs right now. Tampa Bay is on the other side. They're 2.4, which means they are 30th. We have the complete opposites here on both runs and batting average as Tampa Bay is batting 178. Yes, the Cubs are batting better right now over the past week than the Tampa Bay Rays. Both of them were tied exactly at 7.4 when it comes to strikeouts, which is 12th. Kansas City 3.8 walks to Tampa Bay's 3.0 walks. So we have massive advantages here for Kansas City. Pitching matchup, they're about the same. Nothing really stands out here except Bradley has a lot less innings. Other than that, the bats are on fire. They're cold. So we're going to leave the over-under alone because we don't trust Tampa Bay's bats to get us to an over, and we don't trust Kansas City's bats to cool off to hit an under. So, but we do have the Royals as plus money underdogs. And I'm going to take that. I don't care what happens in this game. The numbers are 30th and 1st. They're the most extreme opposites you can have. So I'm taking the Royals. I did it yesterday. I took the Royals money line and the Royals run line, and both of them hit. So we're going to do that again. Royals money line, Royals run line, pass on the over-under. Next game. All right, next up, we got the Giants and the Mets. Talk about a great extra innings performance from the Giants yesterday. Tied it up and then just boop, 7-2 winner. Hit the over, hit the money line. Love that one. Today we have Webb with his 303 going up against Manea at 311. Betting markets have the Giants as a 125 favorite today. Over under 7.5 with some juice on the over. Stats wise, Giants have won 4 in a row. Mets have lost 5 in a row. Both teams are starting to hit those streaky territories on the win-loss record. Giants hit the Nerfy 82% of the time as the road team. Mets hit the Nerfy 84% as the home team. That gives you 69.5. We're going to pass because both teams are... Giants are their bats are still on fire. The Mets have cooled off significantly here recently. So we're going to pass on the Nerfy. Giants are 7.4 runs a game, which is second best, and they're batting 268, which is sixth best. Mets are they're getting 3.8 runs a game, which is 22nd, and they're batting 221, which is 21st. So the Mets have just dropped off a cliff. They were doing better, but now data point fell off. New one showed up from yesterday. There you go. Big change in numbers. Giants are 8 Ks at 19th best. Mets are 11 Ks, which is dead last. They're striking out a lot. And for the walks, 4.2 for the Giants and 2.8 for the Mets. That puts 2 and 20th. So we have massive advantages for San Francisco all across the board. Pitching matchup, they're about equal. I mean, it's almost, you can't get close. 303 to 311. The whips are about the same. Ks, walks. Nothing stands out here. 2 pretty decent pitchers here. Looking at this, over under 7.5, we have a hot offense and a trending cold offense. We don't like that, so we're going to pass on that over under. We don't know what's going to happen. Winner wise, I got to go San Francisco again. We're just going to take them on the money line today. We're not going to run line them. We're just going to take that minus 125. We might throw them in a parlay. Might, not sure yet, but we're going to just take that and move on to the next game. Next up, we got Baltimore and the White Sox. We got Brash with a 241 going up against Crochet or Crockett, how you want to say it, at 375. Betting markets currently have the Orioles as a 165 money line favorite. Over under 6.5. Over is hitting at a minus 140 juice right now. Baltimore Nerfies have been just beautiful going right now, and we hit the Nerfy yesterday. It was great. Today we have Baltimore's on a 3-game win streak. Chicago's on a 4-game losing streak. So we're having some streaks starting to form in some of these teams over here. So Currently, Baltimore is hitting the Nerfy on the road 95.65% of their games this year. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Chicago is hitting the Nerfy 81.4% of their home games. That gives you a 77.94%, a 78% chance. I'm going to take it every single time. So, again, per the norm, Baltimore Nerfy is on the table. So we're going to go ahead and lock that one in. We're also going to look at numbers. Baltimore is 4.5 runs a game, which is 15th. Chicago is 3.8, which is 21st. Both mid-range to lower end of the spectrum here. Baltimore is batting 212, which is 25th. And Chicago is batting 223, which is 20th. That's good for a Nerfy when both teams can't hit the ball. Walks and strikeouts. Baltimore, 7.1 strikeouts, 3.5 walks. Both are 8th in the majors recently. Chicago is 3.3 strikeouts, which is 25th, and 4.1 walks, which is 4th. So we have some stagnant offenses out here. They're both mid to lower end on runs, bottom 20 and 25th on batting average. So we're struggling to hit the ball. We have two decent pitchers. Bradish is better than Crockett. How do you want to say that? I'm going to call him Crochet because it sounds better. Bradish has better numbers. 6.5 is crazy. That's crazy. But minus 140 is also crazy. So we're going to leave that alone. I don't want to pay that juice. That's just stupid. We're not doing that. Money line, I don't trust either team. But both teams are struggling here. If anything, I'll take the other. This one's going to be just, we're going to take a Nerfy. We're going to watch one inning. And then we're going to watch something else. So Nerfy here. Next game. All right, next up, we got Texas and Minnesota. This one, we don't know who Texas is throwing out for a pitcher. It's almost time for the games to start, and we still don't know who Texas is throwing out there. So currently, with nothing going on, this game is going to be a full pass because you can't really bet when you don't know who you're going up against, really. There's not even numbers. My book doesn't have any numbers out yet. So Texas, Minnesota, I'd love to talk about you. I'd love to break it down, but I can't do it. Pass. All right, next up, we got Philly and the Rockies. We have Ranger Suarez in his 9-0 record and his 1.36 ERA going up against Quantrill with his 3.59 ERA. Betting markets currently have the Phillies as a 240 favorite money line, over under 9.5 with some juice on the over. Philly has won one, Colorado's lost one. Nerfy wise, Philly hits the Nerfy 65% of the time on the road. Colorado hits it 62% of the time at home. That gives you a 40-ish% chance. That's a pass for me all day. Philly is 6.2 runs a game, which is 4th, while batting 273, which is 2nd right now. So bats are on fire. Colorado is getting 4.8 runs, which is 9th, 255 average, which is 10th. So their bats are not as hot as Philly's, but they're also still quite warm. They were very hot. They dipped down and they're coming back up a little bit. So Colorado warmed back up when they got home, which makes fun sense right there. Philly is 6.6 strikeouts, which is 5th, while getting 3.4 walks, which is 9th. Colorado is 9.2 strikeouts for 24th and 3 walks, which is 15th. So we have advantages for Philly in all categories, but not too much of an advantage here. Pitching matchup, there is a massive advantage. Suarez is on fire. That 1.36 with that .79 nasty whip, 68 to 12K to walkout ratios. This dude's dominating right now. Quantrill, 3.9. That's not bad for Colorado. Let's be honest. We've seen way worse for Colorado pitchers. 1.25 whip. He's doing pretty decent himself. The numbers here, over 9.5. Both teams are on fire. You're getting a 11 combined average with the runs here. 9.5 seems pretty steep with decent pitchers, so we're going to pass on it over under. That 240 is kind of high too. With the teams being, Philly's better, but are they that much better right now? Statistics in the past week-wise, not overall talent. I don't think Philly should be 240. They'll go in a money line parlay. I think they're going to win. I think I'm going to ride with what I've been riding with is the Philly minus 1.5. It paid off yesterday. It won. So I think we're going to go back to the well, do the same thing. Philly money line in a parlay. Philly run line as the bang bets, and move on to the next game. All right, next up, we got Cleveland and the LA Angels. We have Lively with a 2.84 going up against Detmers at a 5.80. Betting markets have the Guardians the slight favorite at 120, over under 8.5 with some juice on the under. Looking at the numbers, Cleveland has won 8 games in a row. They are streaking. They're hot. Angels have lost 2. Looking at Nerfy numbers, Cleveland 85.7% on the road. Angels are 75 at home. That gives you a 64.2% Nerfy. That's a pass for me. Cleveland is getting 6 runs a game, which is 5th best, while batting 224, which is only 19th best. Angels are getting 4.6 runs, which is 12th best, while also batting 253, which is 11th best. So we have advantage Cleveland on the runs, advantage Angels on the bats. Little interesting stat number there. Cleveland is 8.4 for strikeouts at 21st, which is, and 30.2 walks, which is 11th. Angels is 7.6 strikeouts for 14th, 2.6 walks, which is 22nd. Angels get advantage on the strikeouts. Cleveland gets advantage on the walks. So we're flip-flopping here on the stats right here. That's not a good sign for the bets here. Pitching matchup, the Lively has better numbers overall. It's not even close. The better whip, the way better ERA. This one, I'm torn on this one. This one's, I lean Cleveland, but the fact that the stats, they're not batting as well. 19th in batting average scares me a little bit. Makes me want to lay off this one. You can do it if you want to. I'm gonna lay off this one. I don't like the way that the average is low, but the runs are high. How are you getting your runs? So over under 8.5. Both teams are middle pack. This one just gives, I just don't like this one. The numbers aren't there. There's no massive advantage. We're flip-flopping on numbers. We got a decent versus a good pitcher. I don't like this. This game is going to be a full pass on everything and move on to the next one. Next up, we got Houston and Oakland. We got Blanco at a 209 going up against Brooks at a 415. Betting markets have the Astros as a 170 favorite. Over under 8.5 with some juice on the over. Stats wise, Houston lost one, Oakland won. Nerfy wise, Houston 65% Nerfy on the road. Oakland 85.7 at home. That gives you a 55.9. Not even in consideration on Nerfy in this one. Houston is 4.2 runs a game, which is 17th. Oakland's 4.8, which is 9th. Advantage Oakland. Houston is 244 average, batting 244 for 13th. Oakland is batting 251 for 12th. They're right next to each other. Houston is number 1 in strikeouts at only 5.4 a game. Meanwhile, Oakland is at 10.4, which is 28. So they're swinging at everything still. Houston 2.8 walks, which is 20th. Oakland 3.6, which is 6th. So advantage Oakland at walks, massive advantage Houston on strikeouts. Oakland has a little bit of advantage on the runs, and they're about equal on the batting average. So nothing really stands out here. On the over under 8.5, but both teams are middle of the road on average, I am going to pass on the over under. Money line wise, here we have a much better pitcher for Houston, which makes me lean Houston. I don't like Houston ones. If Houston was 120, 130, sure. But with the matchup and the numbers, everything here, 170 steep, I can't do 170. And I'm not doing a run line with this, the stats being this way. So overall, this entire game is going to be a pass. Next game. Next up, we got the Yankees and the Padres. We got Schmidt with a 259 going up against Musgrove and a 614. Betting markets currently have the Yankees as a 125 favorite on the money line. Over under 8.5 with some juice on the under. Looking at the numbers, Yankees have won 4 in a row. Padres have lost 2 in a row. Yankees hit the Nervy 67.8% chance on the time on the road. San Diego 81.4 at home gives you a 55-ish%. We pass on that Nerfy. Yankees are 7th in runs at 517. They're 2nd in batting average at 273, 8th in strikeouts at 7.1, and 19th at 283 on the walks. San Diego is way worse on runs at 2.8 for 26. They're 16th in batting average at 238, which is 14 spots worse. They are 4th in strikeouts at 6.29, so a slight advantage, and 27th in walks at 2.1. So we have decent advantages for New York across the board here. Pitching matchup, we have a pretty good advantage here on Schmidt. Wait, look at the numbers. They're better. Schmidt's better. The numbers here, we have Yankees 125. I'm definitely taking Yankees money line here. I am tempted for just see if I can get a little profit boost here. See if I can take the Yankees minus 1.5 as well, because the numbers are dominating the Yankees here. Schmidt is a way better pitcher. Everything lines up. So over under, we're going to pass on. Like I said, we have a hot and a cold team. We don't trust over unders. So we're going to take Yankees money line, Yankees run line. Next game. All right, next up, we got Miami and Arizona. We have Weathers going out there for Miami with a 3.49 ERA. Score app hasn't updated, so they don't have the pitcher here. ESPN is showing that apparently Arizona is sending out Walston, who's only pitched 3 innings this year, has a 4.9 ERA, 1.9 whip, gets 5 strikeouts a game, but gives up 4 walks a game. So that one's a little iffy. That's weird here. There are odds, though. My book has them. Diamondbacks minus 155 on the money line. Over under 8.5 with some juice on the over. Looking at the numbers, Miami is only getting the Nervy 75% of the time on the road. Arizona 59% of the time at home. That's a 45% chance. We're pass on that. Miami is getting 2.8 runs a game, which is 27th. Arizona's 4 runs a game, which is 20th. Miami's batting 269 for 5th best, but they're not scoring runs, which is very concerning. Arizona is batting 237 for 17th. only getting 4 runs a game for 20th, also a little concerning. Miami is only striking out 6.2 times, and they're getting only 1.8 walks. So they're batting well, but they're doing nothing with it. Arizona is only getting 7.6 strikeouts for 14th and 1.4 walks for 29th. So these two teams are bottom 3 in walks. Not good. This game is just weird. With a pitcher we know nothing about, we have lines out for a reason, but I'm not going to put 155 on a pitcher I know nothing about when both teams are struggling offensively. This game is going to be a pass completely. We move on to the last game. All right, next up, we got the nightcap. We got the Cubs and the Cardinals. We got the Cubs on their 3-game losing streak, Cardinals on their 4-game winning streak, Asai with a 1-7, Gray with a 2-7. We have a beast of a pitching matchup. Betting markets have the Cardinals as a 135 favorite, over under 8.5 with some juice on the under. Cubs are hitting the Nerfy 80% on the road. St. Louis 79% at home. That gives you a 64-ish% chance. We pass on that. Runs wise, Chicago's getting 3 runs a game, which is 24th, but they're batting 195, which is 27th. So they're struggling still. They're a little bit better than rock bottom when they were 30th a couple days ago, but they're still rock bottom pretty much in my mind. St. Louis is getting 5.2 runs a game, which is 6th, and they're batting 273, which is tied for 2nd. So we have a massive advantage here for St. Louis on the bats. Strikeout wise, they're only striking out 6 times per second. Meanwhile, Chicago's swinging at things. That's 9 strikeouts for 22nd. They're both getting 3 walks a game, which is tied for 15th. Money line wise, we have a pitching matchup with beast pitchers. The only thing is St. Louis bats are much warmer. I'm not gonna say hot, but they have statistical advantage over Chicago here. Assad is a beast of a pitcher. I don't trust this. Over under, I would lean under because of the numbers and the pitching matchup, but St. Louis is still 6th in runs and 2nd in average, so they're still hitting the ball. Just because it's the night game and the Chicago Cubs are so poor right now, I am going to take St. Louis on the money line just because I'm going to be watching the game. It's Sunday night. There's nothing else to watch. So we're going to do that. We're going to take them. We're not going to do run line. We're not going to do total. We're not going to do Nerfy. So St. Louis money line. That's it. 15 games broken down. If you like what you saw, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't done so. Again, on fire, 11 out of 12 days in a row. We have ended the day in green based on every single bet we put out here. If you're going to fade, follow, let me know below, and we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.